Sup? No, we just gonna get right into it. You already know what's up. I hope you got yours. It's gonna be a long
I worked as a Walmart
video.
cashier for a little over a year. I quit in August of 2015 when I went away to college. As a cashier, you see a lot of people in a day, especially at Walmart. And
Right.
after a while, you don't even see people's faces when you look at them. But there are some people that you see so often you start to recognize and sometimes learn their names. There was this one guy, always in the same Green Bay Packers hoodie and Chicago Cubs baseball cap, that would often seek out my line no matter how long it was, just so he could stare at me and rarely say a word. Whenever
Wow.
he did say anything to me, he would always lean across the register to get closer to my face. He always gave me a really bad vibe, but when I asked other cashiers about him, they said that he had never been weird around them.
That's because the other cashiers and everybody else that you work with are clucking up. You're the only one that's smart. You're the only one that's reasonable, that has common sense, that's not clucking up. You the one, you the real MVP. You the GOAT right now. See, you feel me? You see what you picking up what I'm putting down? Wait. Yeah, I said that right. If I don't know you, I mean at least like you don't be all in my face. But I hate that. I hate that. Yeah, if I don't know you and I'm getting some creepy, weird vibes from you, don't be within inches from my face, please. I'm in the arms length. Arms length, 360. If I can do this and I can touch you, you too close. That's all I'm saying.
One of the girls even said he was a close family friend. After that, I dropped the issue. One night after I'd been there for about a year, I was working a 2 to 11 shift. Those shifts were always the worst because you'd be there for 3, sometimes 4 front-end managers, but also because it takes the chunk out of your day when you were actually going to do anything. So I'm down on the self-checkout. It's about 10:15, so I'm counting the minutes until I can shut it down at 10 to 11. The creepy guy comes in the front door and makes a beeline for me at the self-check podium. When I see him come in, I instantly get nervous. He walks up and says, "Can I still buy a cell phone card and electronics?" I told him I only worked as a cashier on the front end, so I didn't know anything about electronics, but he could go back and check. He seemed peeved by this answer, but he walked away without another word. About 10 minutes later, he comes up with a prepaid phone card and said there's no one at the register in electronics, so I activate his card and hand it to him, telling him to have a good night. But he pushes the card back at me without saying a word, and I say, "Is something wrong?" To which he replies, "These minutes aren't on my phone yet, are they?" I was confused by this statement because, of course, they weren't. He had just bought the card. I shook my head, and he waved the card in front of my face. "Why the fuck are you just standing there? Reactivate my phone." When he talked, he was so close I could smell his breath,
It's hot.
and I was a little scared. I wanted to put in a call to my manager so that someone could come down and help me. This is where I should probably mention that I'm about 5'3", and he is closer to probably 6'5",
Oh,
and
damn.
very stocky, so he was towering over me, and the thought that he could easily overpower me crossed my mind, but I get so nervous whenever men yell or cuss at me because my dad was never the type to yell or cuss. I took the card out of his hand and he slammed his cell phone on the scanner. I was trying not to let him know I was nervous, but I was terrified. I knew I had never put minutes on a prepaid phone before, but I don't dare tell him that in fear of what he might do. So I read the directions, pick up his phone, dial the number, and as I'm putting in the card number, his phone runs out of minutes. I try to call back and get an error message. I'm at a loss. I meekly hand him his phone back and say, "I'm sorry, something went wrong. I don't know what is happening." As soon as I say it, he takes his phone, opens it up, tries to dial someone, and when it doesn't work, he looks at me with furious eyes. He screams, "What the fuck did you do to my phone? What the fuck?" His voice is echoing in the store, and unfortunately we haven't gotten the end of second shift rush yet, so there is no one around. He closes his phone and opens it again, trying to make another call, but when it doesn't work, he throws the phone down on the scanner again. He says, "I don't know what you did to my phone, but you better fucking fix it." But this comes much more quietly, practically a whisper. At this point, I'm worried he's going to put his hands on me, and I don't know what to do. I put in a call for a manager for my register, and then I say, I've called someone that might be able to help, but we're at shift change right now, so it might be faster for you to take it to the customer service desk. He picks up his phone off the podium, still mumbling under his breath that I fucked up his phone, and I'm hoping I can get out of there before he comes back, or at least have someone else down at the self-check with me. Another 15 minutes go by, and I don't see him again. As I'm picking up items that people left by the registers, getting ready to shut them down for the night, he comes back and stands by the podium. He still looks completely pissed off, and my stomach has sank. He made that finger motion that means come here without saying anything, and for some reason that makes me even more nervous. When I'm standing in front of him, he leans so close to my face that I think he's about to kiss me or bite me or God knows what.
See, now, in the beginning, I thought... In the beginning, I thought you were the only person that wasn't clucking up. I thought you was the only person that had common sense. I thought you were the GOAT, the MVP, all of the above. That's what I thought. But you are not. And let me explain why. First of all, I don't get at any point where in an argument or confrontation, whatever you call it, I don't get it to the point where they're about to put their hands on me. I don't even get it to the point where they're close to me. Like, that radius that, I don't get it to that point. Because I know when to back off. I know when to shut it off. I know when to haul it. That's all I'm saying. If we're talking back and forth, and the conversation starts to escalate, and it starts to get really bad in a verbal sense where I feel like you about to threaten me, you're about to put your hands on me. I'm already out by the time you even think about putting your hands on me. I'm so far out that I'm in the car, turned it on, drove 6 miles out in the house, right, watching some Netflix. Shouts out to Stranger Things, right, watching that. I'll be gone so fast that you'll still be talking to my ghost. You'll still be talking to what you think is me, but I'm not. It's not me because I'm already gone. You're talking to nobody. But to you, it looks like you're talking to me, but you're not. You're not talking to the real me. How you gonna be talking to the real me? And I'm already at my house chilling, couch up. I'm just relaxing while you just talking to nobody. You need to be at that point, but you playing. So I take back everything that I said about you. I'm sorry, but you just took the L. Sorry about that.
I try to take a step back, but he takes a step forward when I do.
See?
A creepy grin comes across his face as he says, "The girl up there fixed it. Simple fix. But next time, I expect you to know what to do."
Why me?
Understand?
Understand nothing.
I nod because I don't think I can speak. He gets impossibly closer before saying, "I'm sorry I raised my voice. I never should have done that. Especially to a pretty girl like you."
I didn't know it. Oh.
When he adds the last part, he lightly uses his fingertips to brush my bangs to the side. I took a step back and he said, "Let me make it up to you. Let me buy you a drink." I shake my head. I say, "No, thank you. I'm only 19. He says, "So we'll get a couple of beers and go back to my place." Again, I shake my head.
A person that does all of that, what that person just did, all that extra stuff, all that talking and arguing and raising their voice and all of that. And I don't like it when a person says, "Do uh if you don't get your manager, I'm gonna get you fired. I'm gonna find some way to get you fired because you're a piece of shit, right? You don't know how to do your job, right? You're lazy. You don't know what you're doing. I should be able to come to you, and you should know automatically off bucks what you should know what you're doing. But you don't know what you're doing because you're stupid. You stupid. You stupid. That's what you are. How you not know how to do this, huh? Go get the person goes to get it resolved, taken care of. Comes back to you. You know what? Look, all the stuff I said, I didn't mean it. It. I'm sorry. Look, how about I don't know. How about we go grab a bite to eat? What? Are you? That person is crazy. That person is crazy. Stay away from that person, please. That beyond crazy. Go from frantic to calm. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? No.
It's really okay. I'm not much of a drinker. I have an early morning tomorrow. He looks displeased with this answer and says, "Tell you what, I'll wait over here by the door just in case you change your mind." I smile at him weakly and tell him to have a good night. When I see him walk through the security, I quickly shut down the registers and sign out of mine. Then I run over to find a manager to tell about the whole thing. The third shift manager that I tell looks at me like I'm lying, and when I'm finished says, "I know Todd. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He doesn't have it in him. You're probably just being dramatic." She then turns to another older cashier behind her, shakes her head and mumbles, "Teenagers." I ask if I can have someone to walk me to my car, and they tell me that management is in a meeting and the security guy went home already. So I clocked out and went to the bathroom. I waited in the bathroom for about 10 minutes before coming out and attempting to go to my car. When I walked around the corner through the security things, he wasn't sitting on the bench right there like I had been expecting. I relaxed a little before I realized he was standing just outside the door, far enough away to keep it from closing, smoking a cigarette. He has his back turned toward the door. Luckily, I never went out the front doors. I always went to the corridor and not the side door. I quietly closed the door behind me so maybe I wouldn't catch his attention. I rushed to my car, which was fortunately very close to the building. As I'm quick walking to my car, I hear him shout, "Hey, why are you avoiding me?
Hey.
Come here."
No, stop.
At this point, I take off into a full-on sprint, which is not easy because I'm wearing Sperry's, so it's like running in clogs. I get to my car, get in, lock my doors as I'm starting it, and don't even bother with my seatbelt. By that point, he had made it almost all the way to my car and was still yelling, telling me he just wanted to talk. I took off as fast as I could and took the longest way home with the most turns and twists that I could. When I got home, I told my dad about the experience, and he was so angry that no one had answered my calls or believed me. He called the store manager the next day and complained. I was never contacted about his complaint, but from that night on, whenever I saw that guy, I would run to the bathroom, or if I couldn't get away, I would put out my lane closed sign and turn off my light so he couldn't get in my line. And you always hear people talking about the people of Walmart as being trashy, but they never tell you about the select few that are scary as hell.
If I was a dad, I would have been mad that you didn't run in the first place.
It was approaching one of my niece's birthdays, and she's at the age where I think she would appreciate a gift from her uncle. I'm a poor college student with no car, so I commute everywhere and anywhere, knowing that I always take my backpack and headphones anytime I leave my house. So I'm at Walmart and have this care package planned out for my niece. She loves Elsa from Frozen, so I decided to get her a costume, doll, and candy, all Frozen themed of course. Like I mentioned earlier, any place I travel, I usually have my headphones in. This is kind of a pain to explain, but this detail defines the whole story. Now, I'm so lazy I use a third-party music app instead of the music app included on my iPhone. Unfortunately for me, this requires a good internet connection, and living in rural parts of Denver, my music ends up cutting in and out, and then stops playing altogether. Now, at this point, I have one item left on my list, and I'm in the toy section of Walmart looking for an Elsa toy. Before I know it, this mom leaves her 2 children beside me. I'm not sure why, but this has happened before. Maybe I have a trustworthy face. Let me tell you all something now. I'm not fucking stupid. There are so many strange things that happen in this world that I would be a fool to leave these 2 children alone. And for the record, I don't know these people at all. It's kind of a pain, but I figured it's just me being a good person. I don't even know how some people can do this. This is literally a woman leaving her 2 children at a section of the store and telling them to wait there for a short while. Anyways, one girl is around 4 years old and her sister was around 1 to 2 years old.
Oh my God.
These girls were fucking sitting ducks, man. The older sister had one missing crock, and her younger sister had pajamas on and a pacifier in her mouth. I felt even more obligated to stay until their mom came back. And I was right. Not even 5 minutes passed since their mom left, and some fool came up and started talking to these girls. This tool said all the generic stuff any pedophile would say. I have lots of toys and candy in my car, and a dog too. I was like, is this guy fucking serious? He probably thought I wasn't listening because I had my headphones in. But like I said, by this point my music had cut out a long time ago. As soon as he mentioned his dog, I immediately made my way up to him. He was crouched down talking to the girl about the stuffed animal she had in her hand. My dog is really big. He's not pink, but he's nice. Would you like to come and meet him? I crouched down and pushed the girl back a few steps. Immediately the guy moved back a few steps himself. I extended my arm and shook my finger back and forth, gesturing to him. No, not today. I gave the guy a very harsh look, like I knew exactly what he was doing. I just stared at him very attentively. The guy was very short in stature and had short, stringy hair with a tan pilot jacket. He was also wearing some very beat-up New Balance tennis shoes. He looked very plain, to describe him best. At this point, I was about to pounce on him and hold him down if need be. I'm not even a big guy myself. I just don't stand for any bullshit.
Right.
Before that could happen, he immediately got up, turned right, and headed out the garden exit. I waited with the little girl and her sister until their mom came back. I said, yeah, you shouldn't leave your children alone. Some guy was talking to One Shoe over here about some generic bullshit, probably trying to kidnap your kids. Those were my exact words. I mean, there's no denying what just happened. Anyways, I told her she won't be as lucky next time. The mom just shook her head up and down and swallowed any spit that was in her mouth in a very harsh gulp. I don't know if something bad would have happened, but if my music had not stopped playing, let's just say neither one of those girls could speak for themselves.
I guarantee my kids would. No. Nope. Like hell you do got candy. No, I don't know.
At the time, my family and I lived in a small town in southern New Mexico. The nearest Walmart was about half an hour away in Roswell. Yes, the town where the aliens crashed. Every weekend, we would take a shopping trip to Roswell. When we arrived at the Walmart, which was appropriately decorated with aliens and flying saucers, my dad and I both had to pee. I was using the urinal when an older man, maybe late 50s to early 60s, walks in and uses the urinal next to me.
Come on. That has never happened to me before, and I pray to God it doesn't. But any guys out there, any guys, has that ever happened to you? Let me know that in the comment section below, because that's got to be really disturbing. You got about 10 different urinals that you can go to, and they're all open. They're all free to use. But you choose to use the one right next to me?
What? Get the fuck out of here!
If that ever happened to me, I guarantee you, I'm stopping, moving on to the next one. If he comes to the next one right after I move, I'm gonna I'm gonna just go to like one of those stall things, like the individual toilets. You know what I'm talking. I don't know how to clean it, but you got the urinals, and then you got the toilet type things. That's like just by itself. You know, so that's really disturbing. Oh my god, I can't even imagine what I would. I might just let go and just walk right out if that ever happened to me. I don't I don't really care if I have pee on my leg, cause that's scary and that's disturbing. But yeah, if that's ever happened to you, man, I'm sorry.
Then, without warning, the older guy just leans over and looks right over the partition, and not even trying to be subtle, he just starts staring at my prepubescent penis.
Oh my god.
Luckily, my dad was still there washing his hands when this was happening.
Oh, okay.
He shouts at the guy, "Hey buddy, just what in the fuck do you think you're doing?" I was, He barely manages to get that out. And then, without another word, he turns and rushes out of the bathroom, not bothering to wash his hands
Nasty.
or flush the toilet.
Nasty.
My dad was fuming and immediately went to the manager and told him that some old pervert was ogling his kid in the bathroom. The manager, completely unfazed, told my dad that it wasn't the first time that guy had done something like that, and the old perv was on a list of people Walmart kept an eye on when they entered the store, and that he was also a registered sex offender.
Oh. Thank God his dad was in there. I don't even know how old he was. Popcorn bar.
This happened to me earlier this year. It was around midnight and I was shopping around Walmart. I casually walked to the register to pay, and I was the third person in line. The first person had a full cart, and after the cashier finished ringing them up, the cashier had to change the cash drawer like they do every time it's at midnight. So I'm just standing there behind my cart when a man in his late 20s, maybe early 30s, gets in the line behind me. He slowly creeps closer and closer to me, and soon enough his body is touching my own, and I get really nervous, and I have an idea to get gum, which meant I had to take a few steps out of line. So I pretend to look at the gum, and I look at my cart, and the man has his hands on my cart. I politely say, "Excuse me, can you move?" And he moves back a little bit, but it wasn't enough for me to get behind my cart, so I just stand next to my cart because he was violating my personal space. He starts to talk to me, but I ignore him and act like I don't know he's speaking to me. He taps my shoulder, then says, "I like your hair." And I awkwardly say, "Thanks." Now the cashier, who is a female, is just watching us talk while she's ringing me up. And then the guy asks me, "Do you like guys with green eyes?" I didn't hear him, so I said, "What?" And he repeats his question, "Do you like guys with green eyes?" And he takes off his cap and winks at me. I didn't answer his question, but instead gave him a look of "leave me alone."
Don't ever wink at anybody. I mean, if you're gonna do it, like, make sure it's like you playing around. Yeah, y'all, you both know you playing around when you wink at somebody, cause that's awkward. That's really awkward. It's awkward as hell. Like in the movies and TV shows, okay, I get it. But like in real life, wink, hey, that's awkward as hell. Like no, that's weird. So off Bucks, I know that this guy is a creep. That this guy is weird at the heart. Just say nobody just winks like that if they no no no. And plus she's straightforward too. He don't really care. He He just want to get it in. That's all. That's all that is.
I turned around to look at the cashier, and she can see that I'm feeling uneasy. The guy then talks about me and him and about going out. All I could say was, okay, whatever. I pay for my things, and as I'm walking out the door, the guy yells at me, "Bye, I miss you already.
Oh no!
Maybe I'll see you soon, at a fancy restaurant or something." And he has a creepy face. It freaked me out so much my heart started racing even more, and once I'm out of his sight, I run like hell, because I know he will be out soon enough because he only had about 3 things. I get to my car and throw my things in my vehicle and hide in my car for a little bit because I didn't want him to see me or my vehicle. And I never thought I would run away from some random person, but this guy genuinely freaked me out.
Yeah, I feel like you'll freak a lot of people out. What kind of game is that? What game is this? I like it.
I was with my little brother in Walmart, and we were in the clothes aisle looking for shirts for my dad's birthday. I'm currently 17, so it was just my little brother, who was 4, and myself shopping. He was hiding in those little circle racks that have just enough space in between for a kid to fit.
Good times. That's good times. Man, I miss those times. Going to like clothing stores, department stores, and then going inside those like the spinning racks. You going inside them junks. That was good times. God, dog, that was good time. Take me back. I do that now, and I'm 24. People gonna look at me like I'm crazy, like I'm a weirdo. Like, what is you doing, bro? Like, chill out, relax. You like 30. Like, come on now. Do something with yourself. Relax. Because you weird. You starting to creep me. Who does that? Who does that? Nobody at your age does that. Come on now. Get your life together. When I was like 5, 6 years old, that was fun times when I did it. People tend to look at you different when you do certain things when you was a kid versus when you're like a full-grown adult. People, people look at you different. I'm not saying that's what I do that, but people look at you different. Yeah, it's awkward.
Hide for a little bit, then I would crawl under and grab his feet and spook him, and he would laugh endlessly until he hid again. This time I couldn't find him for a while, so I started to get worried. I called out, "Marco," because this is how we found each other in stores, and he would respond, "Polo," and I would immediately find him. Except this time, a gruff man's voice responded, "Polo."
Oh no!
And I could hear my little brother whimpering. I bolted in the direction of the man's voice and came across another one of the circle racks, but it was extending a little bit as if a bunch of junk had been stuffed in there. I pulled the shirts off the rack and saw this man sitting cross-legged on the bars across the bottom with my little brother in his lap, the man's hand over my brother's mouth. The man looked to be in maybe his late 40s and was very unkempt, his clothing worn. The worst part was that he had his pants down, but thankfully not his underwear. My little brother was crying, and at first I had no idea what to do. Then I realized by some random strike of luck there was an umbrella thing nearby, so I leaned over and grabbed one and smacked the man with it, screaming at him to let my brother go. Some Walmart employees came over and held the man down while I grabbed my brother, and they later called the cops. Turned out the man lured my brother by asking him if he'd like to join the man in a game of hide and seek. He was arrested, but if I ever see him near my brother again, I'll kick his ass.
Maybe that guy can play hide and seek, Marco Polo, with his new friends in the cell. You know, see how
I live in a very populated city,
well
and
that
in
goes.
approximately a 5-mile radius of my house, there's at least 3 major grocery stores, one of which is a Walmart. Being a 16-year-old girl, I visit Walmart regularly if I need notebooks or something for school, or if I want to browse makeup and things of that sort. I've never been uncomfortable going shopping by myself, I actually enjoy it, and I've never had any bad experiences being on my own. Until one day a few months back. On this particular Sunday, my parents were working and my little brother was at a baseball game, so I had been home alone all day. I needed body wash and a new lanyard for school. The school I attend requires we wear IDs around our necks on a lanyard. I think most high schools are doing this now and it's becoming more common. Anyway, mine broke the Friday before, so that was my main reason for going out. I got to Walmart and parked like I had 100 times before. Went in and went straight to the purse section where the lanyards were. I walked down the aisle and there was a man looking at wallets hanging on the display. I didn't think much of him. He was probably in his mid-50s, average height and weight, wearing jeans and a brown t-shirt. He looked just like an old grandpa, if I could best describe him. "Hi there," he said with a big grin. "Hi," I said with a grin back. "How are you today?"
I'm good. I'm good.
"I'm good. How are you?" I said, still browsing for a lanyard I liked. "Great. I'm just doing some shopping today." Another big smile. I thought it was weird that he explained that he was shopping since I could clearly see him looking at all the wallets on the racks, and I could have assumed he was shopping on my own. I decided it was nothing and moved on my way. I found what I needed and made my way over to the body wash. I was in no rush to be anywhere, so I was leisurely walking up and down the aisle, smelling anything that sounded interesting, when he walked by the aisle that I was in and smiled again. At this point, I was a little uneasy. I've always been taught to trust my gut instinct, and something just didn't feel right to me. I had never had a conversation with anyone in this Walmart before, and now it seemed that this man was following me. I texted a friend of mine to tell her that I thought I was being followed and where I was at as a precautionary measure. I decided that maybe it was just a coincidence. I mean, he could have just needed soap too, and continued on with my shopping. I went a few aisles up to face wash, and then when I had what I needed, I walked around the corner, where I ran into him again for the third time.
Wow.
"Excuse me, young lady. Can I tell you something?"
Nah.
Yeah,"
See?
I said with a quivering smile. "You are very beautiful."
Thank you. That's it.
"Oh, thank you." I was very uncomfortable at this point. "Are you married?"
Nah.
Mind yourself that I'm only 16, and definitely didn't look old enough to be married. No. "Me either," he said with a grin that turned my heart to ice and made my stomach turn. "Do you have a boyfriend?" Yeah,"
Clucking
I
up.
stammered as I forced a smile on my face to try and hide my fear. I
Clucking.
didn't have a boyfriend at the time. He began to speak again when a man, probably 17 or 18, standing in the aisle perpendicular to us, looking at cologne, walked over and said, "Yeah, she does. She's with me." He gave me the biggest smile and stood super close to me as if he was the boyfriend I had said yes to having. "Oh, I figured," said the man. He seemed very uncomfortable at the presence of another male. "Good luck to you two." And with that, he walked away. I turned towards the man and thanked him for coming to my rescue. He said he could tell by the tone of my voice and look on my face something was up, and was hoping I would play along with him. He watched me check out to make sure the man didn't follow me out of the store, and I was cautious before turning onto the street since I lived so close to the store. This was the last I saw of either of them. I have no idea what the old man's intentions were, but sometimes you just know in your gut that something is wrong, and that day I knew. Something about him was terrifying and sinister. I'm so grateful for the guy who helped me out, but to the old man who was following me in Walmart, please, find someone your own age.
What you got? Comment below in the
So when
comment
I was
section.
about 12 or so, I was friends with this girl, Becky. So Becky's mom was really sweet, and she understood at the time my home life wasn't ideal. So she would take me on trips out of town to go shopping. Now, being from a really small town, our idea of a shopping trip was going to Walmart. It was me, Becky, Becky's mom, and another one of our friends. I remember I was looking at ties because I fancied myself some sort of emo kid at the time when this very old man beckoned for my attention. He looked to be in his 60s or 70s. Liver spots, hunch, pure white hair, the works. He pulls out a wallet and kind of croaks out, "Excuse me, miss, but could you help me find the price of this wallet?" So of course I'm thinking, I'll help this guy because why not? So I teeter over and grab the wallet, and as I'm looking for the price, he leans over and whispers into my ear, "You're a sexy girl. You know that, right?" I turn around, assuming I must have been hearing things, and ask if he could repeat himself.
What?
He says it again and proceeds to grab my arm. I look and see that Becky and the others are nowhere near me, so I bolt in a completely random direction. Eventually I managed to find the front of the store, so I just waited for Becky's mom to find me. When she asked where I went, I explained the situation to her, so we left pretty hastily. I don't think I've ever feared for my safety in such a way before.
Why would you want him to repeat that? You know exactly what he said, so you playing. That's what you're saying.
So this took place only a few months ago, sometime in early July, I want to say. Anyways, my friend was over and had to make a run to Walmart. It was about 9, not too late, but at the time my mother normally wouldn't let me out and about at. But given that I was graduated, me being 18, friend 19, my mom let us go. A quick plan to get garbage bags, something that should have taken 5 minutes top, ended up taking half an hour. We got in, got the garbage bags, and walked around for a bit. We just kind of fooled around, browsing and talking, whatever. During this time, I noticed that my friend was acting kind of weird, but brushed it off. We were standing in line, ready to check out. My friend leaned in close and said, "Do you see that guy?" I glanced up, but I didn't know what she was talking about. I still feel really guilty about this for being too dumb to notice. We started walking away after checking out. Buying only garbage bags doesn't take a lot of time. As we were leaving, she started to explain. And there was some dude that said hello, and being polite, she said hi back. We then saw him at checkout. Both of us being paranoid, naturally, we brushed it off. We got in the car and we saw him in the parking lot again. No big deal. Deciding to play it safe, we decided to wait until he left. Turns out he had a couple of guys with him. They pulled over on our left, leering at us through the car windows. It was nearly dead silent in the car, but I swear you could hear our hearts frantically beating. Even typing this up, I still get that panic. The car of guys quickly sped over, parking next to us. My friend immediately floored the car, pulling in reverse and speeding out of the parking lot. The guys followed. We honestly thought we were going to die, whether it be from going 80 miles per hour or by a group of creepy dudes. We quickly sped out of there, making a turn on some random road, the car of guys behind us at all times, going as fast as we were. At one point they ended up passing us and waving before pulling into a church parking lot ahead and turning around to get behind us again. At this point we were still going about 80 and a 35 and getting closer to my house. Neither of us wanted to lead the guys to our homes, so we thought fast. Near my house there's a little store where you can buy cigarettes, alcohol, and candy. Pretty much a gas station without any gas pumps. We hauled ass to the back of the store, parking and moving to head in through the back. One of the workers was outside in the back and approached us. All we had to say, and had time to say, was, "We're being followed." Luckily, the guy understood exactly and started to go up front. We peeked around the corner, and lo and behold, the group of guys were there around front. My friend and I proceeded to sneak in through the back. Now in the back on the left side is a deli station, and the right is where the alcohol is. My friend ducked into the deli station, and I hid out of sight on the right side. There was a female worker in the deli, and my friend made a signal for her to be quiet. The female worker pretended we weren't there at all. A couple of minutes pass, and we hear the front door open. I peek around the corner, and it's one of the guys. I hide out in the back, heart racing, hoping he doesn't come back here. Finally, a few more minutes pass, and the guy worker from before comes into the back and tells us that the guys are gone. He chewed them out. Oddly enough, they flat out admitted to stalking us. When the guy worker pretended to be family, they quickly backed off, claiming they were only getting beer. I learned from the female worker that those guys are regulars and are always going on about creepy and sexist crap in Spanish, thinking she doesn't know. My friend and I ended up hanging out for a little bit, just to make sure the guys weren't hanging around on a street corner. Totally grateful to the guy and girl working there that day, because they were in complete understanding and stood up for us.
Hey, got some good people out there. Some.
So a few weeks ago, I was in Walmart with my gram. We were walking around and shopping and stuff, your normal Saturday morning errand run. While walking around, I had begun to notice an older man, late 30s, early mid-40s, kind of scruffy clothes that looked like he had been working in a few of the same aisles as my gram and I. I thought nothing of it since it's Walmart, and that's not that big of a store. At one point, my grandma asked me if I needed any new bras. For those of you who don't know, Walmart sells $3.98 bras, and they're awesome. I told her, yeah, sure, and we went to the ladies' underwear section of the store. My grandma went to look at bras, and I went to go see if they had any matching underwear, when I noticed the man again. I walked down the sock aisle and didn't see him, so I slowly made my way back to where the thongs and stuff were. I was minding my own business when I heard someone walk behind me. I figured it was my gram, so I partially turned to ask how many pairs I could get, but she wasn't behind me. I looked around and saw the guy at the end of the aisle. Whatever, I thought to myself. Maybe he has a wife or a girlfriend, and I went back into my own little world looking for underwear. I looked for another minute or so when I felt a presence behind me.
If you're at a store, right, and you see somebody, if you see somebody at a store, right, if you see somebody once or twice, okay. If you see the same person once or twice, okay, that's pretty normal. But if you see the motherfucker about 6-7 times, if you came there to shop and you feel like somebody's watching you, or like you seen that same person about 6 or 7 times, like back to back, you need to have one eye. No, yeah. You need to have one eye on the clothes, on the shopping part, looking at the clothes. One eye on the motherfucker. Right? Both your mind and your shoes should be at the door. Just saying. Like, you need to have some point. You need to have, like, your mind needs to be at the door. Your feet needs to be at the door. I don't know what you would call it, but like, just you don't put all your focus in just shopping. Because there's a mother out there. Well, not out there, but like in the same area, in the same presence as you, in the same store as you, that you're getting bad, like really bad vibes from. So if you need to hurry up and get what you need to get, and get on. That's it. Because something about to go down. You don't want that. You don't want that problem, do you? You probably do because you're clucking up. But for the people that don't want it, run. Make your way to the door ASAP. And I found a penny on the floor. Heads up. If you ever find a penny on the floor and the head is up, pause, it's good luck. Just saying.
I looked to my left and saw a little bit of my grandma. She was obscured by the rack, looking at nightgowns. I decided to stare straight ahead since maybe someone taller than me was just looking at the underwear that was over my head. I'm only 5'1". I felt someone kind of press against me. Then I heard the breathing. It was like heavy breathing that someone had just had sex or something and
Damn.
was calming down. I turned on my heels to see the guy who had been following me with his hands down his pants, obviously fondling himself. I literally screamed, "Nanny," and the guy sprinted away. I told Walmart security, and they told me they had no authority to do anything about it.
What?
I can't get the sound of that guy breathing out of my head.
But you can grab your nanny and haul it outside
When I
the
was
store.
10, my father, older sister, and I went to Walmart. My sister and I liked to wander around alone in stores, so my father had invested in 3 walkie-talkies. I was by myself, walking through the bedding section because I was getting a new bedspread. I was looking intently at one when I felt that I was being watched. I looked over to the beginning of the aisle, and a large man in overalls and dirty brown hair was just looking at me. I decided to walk the other direction and sped walk to the pet section, asking my father through the walkie-talkie where he was. He didn't answer. I made it to the dog food and was happily next to another shopper when he walked by my aisle. Thinking he didn't see me, I let out a sigh of relief. I asked my father again where he was, and again, no answer. I felt like things were safe when I turned around, and this man was at the end of the aisle, standing there. I quickly walked away, with the plan to head to the customer service desk to ask them to call my father. As I walked, parallel to me, this man was matching my steps, keeping me from reaching the front of the store. I changed directions, trying to lose him. In my 10-year-old mind, I thought running to the bathroom would be safe. I ran in and hid in a stall. I heard his footsteps as he entered and saw his shoes below the stall's door. Then I heard an angry woman's voice say, "Hey, get out of here, you pervert!" The woman knocked on the stall's door and asked, "Are you okay?" I opened it and hugged her and started crying. I told her everything and she walked with me, holding my hand to the customer service desk. She waited with me until my father showed up. I told him what happened, and despite the lady verifying it, he didn't believe me.
I would have. Yeah, just saying.
I live on campus at a public university in a small college town. It's a pretty quiet existence, but I like the peace, and I'm rarely bothered by too much in the way of general excitement. My roommate and I usually just spend our time watching Netflix and eating microwave macaroni in our dorm. Typical college stuff. I don't really do much on campus, save for the occasional walk at night to our school's computer lab. Most days are generally pretty uneventful for me, with the exception of today. Me and my roommate drink a lot of water, so we have to buy a couple of cases every few weeks. I decided to go to Walmart to pick up our refill, and he stayed behind to finish some homework. I left around 8 o'clock and drove into town to run a few errands late before stopping at Walmart. I don't know what it is about that place, but I dread going there. Something just isn't right with the type of people who hang out at Walmart in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But I usually just ignore the typical wanderers and weirdos and go on with my business. I grabbed a couple of cases and hurried to the self-checkout. It was approaching 9 o'clock, and that's usually when the strangest folks set up camp for the night. I paid at the machine, grabbed the receipt between my index and middle fingers, and then grabbed the water to carry them out to my truck without a cart. I wasn't parked too far out, but I was far enough that the crowd of cars was thinner than it is close to the entrance. I don't know why, but for some reason I hate parking up front. I went to set the cases of water in the bed of my truck, but as I lifted up, a quiet breeze and a lack of grip on my part allowed the receipt to fly off from my hand. I finished putting the water up and chased after it. The small piece of crumpled up paper had drifted into an empty part of the lot underneath the streetlight. I bent over to pick it up, and I noticed something. A phone. It was a white iPhone 5C laying face down on the asphalt in between the yellow lines of a parking space. There was a huge scratch across the black Apple logo, and the thing looked pretty beaten up in general. Now, typically, I'm the type of guy to leave things alone that don't have anything to do with me, but there were no cars anywhere around it, and I thought maybe I could find the owner, so I picked it up. The screen was all but shattered with a huge crack in the top right corner, covering most of the thin black piece of glass in the front.
Mm-hmm.
It was apparent to me that someone had probably dropped it, loading it into their vehicle unknowingly. I slid it into my pocket and headed home. I got back to the room around 9:15 and my roommate was gone. He had went to the lab to finish studying for his Japanese class. I unloaded the water and began to take everything out of my pockets. I set the phone down on the dresser and checked my phone to see if I had any texts or group chat messages. I didn't. I picked up the white phone and pressed the home button. The screen hesitantly lit up with a background picture of two girls I didn't recognize. They were both blondes and they were posing for the photo as any typical sorority girls would. They were definitely young, probably in their early 20s. I swiped the screen to unlock it, but it required a 4-digit passcode. Of course I didn't know it, but I took a couple of failed guesses. There was no way for me to figure out who the phone belonged to, so I set it on my dresser. I know a guy in my stats class who has jailbroken iPhones before, so I figured I would just take it to him later. I undressed for the night and got into bed around 10 o'clock. That was almost 3 hours ago. I'm still in my room, and it's approaching 1 in the morning. My roommate is pulling a late-night study session with a friend of his, so I haven't seen him for a while. 20 minutes ago, the phone rang. It was the regular iPhone ring, and the contact name was Kara. The picture ID that came up was one of the girls on the front of the phone. I figured it must have been the owner's friend calling to see if someone had stolen the phone. I sat there as it rang a few times, quickly debating whether to answer or not. After 5 or 6 rings, I picked up the phone and slid the bar to answer. I put it up to my ear, but before I could say anything, a loud, screaming voice came across the receiver.
Jen,
What?
please help me. Oh, God, he's going to kill me, Jen.
Why did that scare me?
The voice cut off abruptly, and there was a thud as though the phone had been dropped. I heard a sound like heavy breathing, and then the receiver beeped, signaling the end of a call. I'm sitting in bed now, wide awake. I don't know what to do. I can't sleep. Jen, please contact me to get your phone back. I don't want anything to do with it. I've worked for a long time in libraries. Got my first job when I was 15 and worked my way up to a decent paying position at that same library. For a while I worked at a military library, a small portable of a building that you should think would be the source of a Reddit post or something terrifying, but it wasn't, and I eventually left because the commute was much too long. Turns out I can't live on my decent pay from the library since I'm only part-time, so I started applying to all sorts of places around my hometown. I got lots of calls back, but being lazy, I only returned the calls of jobs that suited my lazy lifestyle, part-time and close to home without a lot of human interaction. The perfect job came up when Walmart called and offered me a part-time position in their fashion department, more specifically in the shoe department. My entire area of work is about 6 or 7 aisles in the very back of the store, between baby stuff and electronics, which I understand is the basic setup in a lot of Walmarts. I started about 2 weeks ago, and despite sore feet from shitty shoes, I liked it. But in my short time there, I have started to notice a few things that at first seem quite normal, but when laid out with everything else, start to make me nervous about going back to work on Sunday. You know how whenever you go to Walmart, the rows and rows of cash registers seem pathetically empty, and the one cashier you find seems much too overworked? Well, my entire store seemed like that. I got no training because there was never anyone around to teach me. I mean, I got some online training, but after that I just started working the floor alone. People would come up to me with confused faces and tell me I was the first person they had seen working, and that there was nothing on the shelves or that something was broken. I knew Walmart had posted a lot of wanted ads for employees, so I figured we were just in the middle of filling those positions, and in any case, I would happily help anyone who asked me to the best of my abilities. After a while, it started to get weird because I never seemed to see anyone myself. The people I did see were shoppers, and that in and of itself started to get weird last week. You figure in a small town you'll see lots of the same people at the only big shopping center around. So again, I wasn't worried for a long time about seeing familiar faces, sometimes daily. But after a while, I realized I never saw a new face. The only new faces I seemed to see were the employees, filtering in and out at suspicious speeds. I could go through a 4-hour shift and go back to a different department to find it either empty or covered by a new person while seeing 6 people I had seen yesterday shopping along the way. I like the walk to the back and use the washroom for as long as possible to waste time. 2 days ago, I saw a little girl, and being a fan of horror movies, seeing her dark hair and ridiculously blue eyes made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. She wasn't with a parent, so I figured she was a demon, and she's going to eat my face while I'm peeing, and they'll find me dead, faceless, and with my pants around my ankles. But of course I know I'm being foolish, so I walk past her and into the bathroom. I see as she walks away that she had red duct tape in her hand, red like her dress. I sat down in the stall and looked to my side, seeing that the toilet paper dispenser was taped closed with red tape. I was a little creeped out that out of the 12 stalls, I was in the one she had been in, so I checked the others. None had red tape. Instead of taking the back way to get back to the department, I walked through the store to look for the little girl, but I couldn't find her, so I went back to put shoes away. I nearly screamed when I got back and found red tape hidden everywhere.
Oh no.
On my water bottle, inside of and on the bottom of shoes. Creeped out, I tried running to find out to ask if they had seen her, but I couldn't find any staff, only customers, and they were all smiling these huge, unnatural smiles.
I know for a fact Walmart doesn't pay their employees nearly enough for all of the bull that be going down at all hours of the day and night. So it does. See, if I was to work at Walmart, it wouldn't take me long to find another job, because it seems like every day or every time I come in, I either see some weird stuff or see somebody doing some weird stuff, or somebody's doing like something's with like somebody's doing something that's off, and that's throwing me in a weird position, like in a weird state. Like, I shouldn't have to. Why am I tensing up? Why do I feel negative vibes from you? And you're my coworker. Every time we work together, I feel something. And not like that, in a bad way. Every time. Why is that? Answer me that. Can you answer me that? Yeah? Okay. Because all I'm saying is, sorry. It's just something. Sorry. It's just something about Walmart that just attracts certain motherfuckers.
They were doing the turn in my direction. I left without signing out, knowing it was close enough to 10 at night, the end of my shift, and I didn't care. I could say I forgot if anyone asked, but knew no one would. There was no one working there to care. I got to my car and found more red tape. That's when I started crying and drove as fast as I could to get home to my boyfriend. My boyfriend is a huge fan of creepy things and advised me to reach out to the horror community. Perhaps you might have some answers.
Better reach out to them Adidas and start running. That'd be the only thing you reaching out to. Stop playing with me.
9:24 a.m., August 17th, 2015. Vivian Qualls, 22, was hospitalized early this morning for severe blood loss. She was found by a Walmart sales associate at 6:26 a.m. in an inflatable ball display, bleeding from what appeared to be self-inflicted cuts. She was admitted in critical condition, and her current state is unknown. The preliminary verdict on the case of her wounds is self-injury brought on by severe hallucinations as indicated by evidence found on her cellular phone. Beginning at 2:49 a.m., Her phone contains entries describing the night she spent in the Walmart located at 12th and Pine. Her entries are included below. 2:49 a.m. I'm writing this to process my thoughts and calm down because I'm getting a little freaked. There's the normal shit you see at Wally World, and then there's this. So first things first, I got there about a half an hour ago because I had a serious craving for Cheez-Its, and now I can't leave. I parked, got out, found my snack, paid for it, and couldn't get out of the door. Like they just wouldn't open. I tried out the exits. The two cashiers watched me and just grinned. They didn't help or say anything at all, and they had the creepiest smiles. I can't unsee it. Okay, I'm gonna try to go home again. 3:19 a.m. Nope, still can't leave. I even tried the emergency exits, but they wouldn't budge. I ran into one of the night stalkers this time. She gave me the same creepy-ass grin as the cashiers, and she said I smelled really good. That was weird, because I don't wear perfume and I use unscented soap and shampoo. The signal on my phone just went down. No reception or 4G. Shit. I should have called my brother to pick me up when I couldn't get out of the front doors. 3:46 a.m. So I had a crazy idea that I'm starting to worry isn't so crazy. Last week my best friend got a book about monsters and other paranormal stuff from the way too freaking early Halloween display. I ran over to check something from the book, but when I grabbed it, another night stalker came over and took it from me. A really tall, pale black guy. Like, he had African features and dreads, but his eyes and skin were light, like he hadn't lotioned in forever. I didn't hear him come up behind me. He just put a hand on my shoulder, turned me around, and took the book out of my hands. Then he put the rest of the books on his cart and walked off. His hand was freezing, and I've been cold since. 4:02 a.m. I'm camping out in the cooking stuff aisle. I laid down a really thick ring of the finest garlic powder Wally World has to offer, and I haven't seen anyone since. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Walmart hires vampires to work their night shift. I'm okay for now, but I'm gonna have to figure out something out to get me till sunrise. Shit, I just saw one of the cashiers from before, all the way down at the bakery, but they hissed at me. Originally I was writing this to calm myself down. Now, I think it's more like a record just in case. New plan happens now. Hopefully this won't be the last entry. 4:53 a.m. I'm typing this as I work, because God, do I need a distraction. I'm scattering mason jars of my blood around the store, and bleeding myself really hurts. I'm hoping the fact that there's less blood in me will make me harder to smell.
I just thought about something. Right, this I've been thinking about it ever since he said something about like hissing. Like how do you hiss?
Hiss?
Hiss.
Hiss?
Yeah.
Like a snake?
Yeah. How would you react if somebody did that to you? Be like, hey. That's weird.
Weird, yeah. Hey. Hey, you.
Don't hiss at me.
Hey, you.
Oh wait, I'm gonna pretend like me and Pop. I'm gonna eat popcorn and then you do it. Give it like 5 seconds and you be like, hey. Go ahead.
Hey.
Who would you hissing at? Is that me, Mom? What's that?
Marcus Martin, aren't you Marcus Martin?
Oh. But yeah, when you agree with that? It's weird. Somebody hissing at you.
Yeah.
Would you ever friend that all they did was hiss?
You have a friend?
No, would you have a friend? That's all they did was hiss. No words, no nothing.
Not for long.
Spelliamos.
I would have a friend that would hiss, but like the friendship wouldn't last long. Because that would get irritating.
Okay. I'm not. I really hope y'all think I'm not talking to myself. Here, come here.
No.
Come here, so they don't think I'm talking to myself.
No.
Come here. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you.
My hair looks hot, awful.
Just show your hand. You don't gotta show your face. Okay, that for the people that be thinking I be talking to myself.
It's like you're
Jeez.
talking to yourself.
And that's not Adam. That's somebody else.
Adam.
Yeah, that's different. All right. Wow, we're off topic.
Maybe if the vampires get to drink some of it, they'll be less hungry for the real thing. This is my third jar, and I had to make a second cut because the first clotted up. Fuck. The first jar is in the meat fridges. I'm hoping the beef will keep the vampires extra busy. I put the second on top of a Pillow Pets display. I haven't decided what to do with this one, and I'm hoping I can make a fourth, but I'm not sure. I don't want to make myself too weak. Once I'm done, I'm going to eat some cloves of garlic and hope the smell and lack of blood helps me hide. Oh dear fuck, the lights just went out. 5:26 a.m. You know those displays of inflatable kickballs? The colorful ones in PVC pipe and wire containers near the toy section? You know how when you were a kid you always wondered what it would be like to climb inside one? It's not that much fun. Although maybe it's better when you're not nearly exsanguinated, terrified, and munching raw garlic. My phone casts enough light for me to find my way there, but I had a hard time climbing in. My cuts reopened and they're starting to bleed through the bandages I made out of my pant legs. Once the lights went out, I didn't want to chance a trip to the pharmacy for bandages. I just hid in the first place I found. I really hope they clot up, because I don't want to start to smell of blood or bleed out. I'm starting to get really. Qual's accounts of her experiences end here. The police have reopened an investigation pertaining to Qual's injuries. In an official statement, the 12th and Pine Walmart general manager responds in confusion, saying, "I don't know how this happened. While most Walmart locations are open 24/7, ours closes at 11 p.m. and reopens at 6 a.m. Our stalkers leave by 1:30 a.m. So by all official accounts, the store should have been locked and completely empty by the time Miss Qualls said she entered. Police have confirmed that all employees of the 12th and Pine Walmart were elsewhere during the time of the incident. Searching through the transaction records, investigators found a single box of Cheez-Its were purchased at 2:21 this morning, in line with Qualls' account. Police are unsure of how this is possible, as Qualls is the only one shown entering the Walmart during the closing hours on security footage. The FBI has been called to assist in the investigation.
Why is it that at most locations or like most like stores, it's Walmart that always has like the creepiest stories, not Target, not Sam's Club, not Home Depot, Lowe's, Costco. It's always Walmart. I mean, like there were other stores that I just named. Those, big branded stores, commercial stores. Like those stores. I mean, they may have like, horror stories here and there, but like, it's what is it about Walmart that just attracts creepy motherfuckers, weird motherfuckers?
How do you...
What?
Like, to keep vampires away, you don't eat garlic, you wear it.
No.
Yeah, you do.
What?
Who eats garlic? Like, what you gonna do, just blow your breath on them?
It works. I tried it.
What?
What?
You supposed to wear garlic, not eat it, but... What? Why don't... But that's just too much. They can just already take a bite out of you before you even blow your breath on.
You was thinking about this that whole time?
Yeah.
Really?
So
You wasn't thinking about your homework or anything? You was thinking about this?
I already know what I gotta do, though.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I was supposed to go to practice today.
But. But.
I didn't know I had practice today.
You can still make it.
No, okay.
What time is it over?
5:30. I'm gonna just have to go to.
No, you can still make it.
No.
Yeah, you can. Look at you.
I just have to go tomorrow and tell them why I didn't. If there was practice today.
So now you skipping.
I'm not skipping.
That's what we doing. Ew.
Those cookies were good.
What cookies? You got cookies? You know, you know.
Container.
Yeah, I
There's
said.
a bunch of them.
Yeah, I said I had to wait until dinner. Is dinner ready?
I just grabbed 2 cookies. Oh.
But yeah,
That
y'all.
seems so
What?
much.
What?
That seems so retarded to me. Who just eats garlic and then just automatically think vampires?
But it works though. You have to think about it. It
I'm
works.
thinking about it. They can already bite your neck before you even breathe on them. Put your breath on them.
But if they bite if they bite on your neck, the garlic is already in their systems.
No, it's not, cause it's not going to stay in your neck.
Garlic?
Huh?
My doctor told me that garlic stays in your neck, though.
Wait, okay. So let's say they bite right here.
Wow, this is a long video. Okay.
Your neck is right here. Your trachea. The stuff comes down.
Your what?
Trachea.
You making stuff up now?
No.
No.
Your esophagus and your trachea goes down.
Trachea is nothing. You just stop making up. You making up stuff.
Okay, let's look it up.
No, hold on. No, let's ask Siri.
Wait.
What is a trachea?
Here is what I found.
Oh,
What did you find?
that's a part of the throat. It's something new that they just thought of.
You think I'm dumb?
No, I didn't say all that. They just thought about it. The trachea is new. Like it's 2000. They made it in 2017.
Then it's not that new.
What you
If
mean?
it was just last year,
Yeah.
it's not that new.
Yeah, it is.
You got 12. You had like 12 months to know that.
12 months. Where do you get 12 months from?
That's how many months are in a year.
See, no. It's 13.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 12. Thank you.
Clember. 13. Keep it cool. Keep it classy. And I love you. Stay happy. My family.
Your catchphrase is not supposed to be that long.
What you mean? That's not my catchphrase. My catchphrase is Septo. That's how I end the videos.
Then what was that?
That's how that's how I end the video. What you mean?
You just say you end the video with septum.
No, I say in the beginning. That's what I say. I say Septo in the beginning. What you just heard, I say at the end of the video. That's not my catchphrase.
But that's too long.
No, it's not.
Say it again.
Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, and my family.
That's too long.
No, it's not.
Like say.
Money.
Like saying, you got it, dude. That's like simple and easy and quick.
I can catch a lawsuit with that.
Okay. Do what you want to do.
Look at the nose. See?
You got piss on me.
What? Okay.